get started. Let's jump into stuff. So, welcome. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. Um, so today I wanted to get started on something, and we have been doing characters for a while. I think it's about time we shift back to environment stuff for a little bit. For anyone that is not familiar with me, who does not know me, let me get my microphone closer to my mouth. For anyone who's new to the stream, welcome. I'm Steven Anderson. I will be your host for the next, time. um, I am a character designer and modeler in the animation industry, most recently for Marvel Animation Studios. As lead character modeler there on an unannounced show, so I can't really talk about it, but I'm super excited to talk about it someday. I am also currently working on my own series of. Let me pull up some pictures or something. Um, Working on my own series of characters. Some of these we've worked on in stream and had some fun. Okay, so we've got like these are my food demons. Uh, Lots of fun. It's so much fun, and I've also started printing these out. In fact, I've got pumpkin spice around here somewhere, but I've got Sushiyama here. In fact, here let me go ahead and I'll switch to my webcam view, and you guys can see Sushiyama up close. He still has a lot of cleanup to do, like print supports and way things are kind of lining up underneath down here is to make sure that lines up nice and clean. But there's Sushiyama, really really fun. Oh, and here's pumpkin spice. So yeah, lots of fun. It's not focusing. Focus. There we are. So yeah, lots of fun. Printed those in my Forms 2 printer. Uh, Really good time. But yeah, today, since I'm wanting to take these characters and put them into an environment, uh, that's what we want to do. So I want to be able to like build environments for this game. I mean, these are work in progress. These ones are finished. Okay, and I still have a whole bunch of other characters that I've started that I'll be work. Oh shoot! Let's turn off this. Turn off the thing here. So yeah, these two over here to the left are work in progress. These ones are already finished, and then I've got other ones that I've already designed that I just haven't gotten the time to actually finish out quite yet. Um, um, but yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. That's where we're headed, and it's super super exciting. So what I want to do is I want to start building out one of these environments that I've thought up. I have. I don't think I have any of these actually on my computer. I'd have to look. Let me go ahead and let's open up my deal here. Yeah, so one of my sets is going to be the creator's desk. So you can see like it's got like my computer, the way that it was set up originally. It's got my bookshelf. It's got my lamp. It's got my mat. My tablet's kind of out on the side. It's got a it's got a boba cup. All sorts of things. My webcam. Um, this is kind of just like blocking in for one of the levels. I'm not going to worry about that particular setup though. Here's another view where I went in and set up the characters as like as cards inside of the environment so that, I could see how they fit and things like that. I think Sweet Tooth might be a little bit too big, but it is what it is, right? Okay, so all sorts of fun. All sorts of fun. What I want to do is I have this idea for doing kind of a well, I want to make sure these environments are stylized and not realistic. So a lot of things that are going into this environment, they're much more realistic proportions and shapes. Um, there isn't a whole lot of well, I mean, there isn't any stylization to it at all. It's all just kind of straightforward. Um, so what I want to do is I want to make an environment. I want to work on an environment for like a campfire, and I want that environment to yeah, to just kind of to have like um, this cool new setup and whatnot. Like logs to sit on going around this campfire. So we're going to start off as you do. I'm gonna say circle 3D just because why not? Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Let's say initialize. Let's see what options we have here. Okay, so you can see it. We have like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that I could do that. You can see like I can do it on both ends. So if I do it on both ends, what is it that happens? It just makes it a circle again. It's interesting. Okay. Inner radius, H divide. Oh, let's turn this here. Let's do something like this, something like this. Here, let's make it like 6 and 18, just so that it's pretty simple, pretty easy to deal with. I mean, it could be. Let's do it. Actually, let's do it as a square. I think that'll be a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say make polymesh 3D. I'm going to hit the refresh to the restore configuration here to be able to make it so that I have just the one thing. Hey Prashant, how you doing, buddy? I'm going to go Q cube. Make sure I'm looking at this from the right direction. Let's isolate that top bit there. Geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Then I'm going to come down to deformation. I'm going to hit unify. Alright, look at that. So that is set. That is going to be my basic ground. Okay, just keeping it really nice and simple. In fact, maybe what I'll do. Okay, so that should be about 9 times the size what it was. I just want to make sure that I have a good arena to be able to build in. I don't know what this is size-wise. I mean, I could come in here and kind of find out. So we could come in here to the Z plugin. We go to 3D Hub, update size ratios. So you can see, like, in the Y direction, there's nothing, right? Okay, 18 inches. Okay, that's good to know. So 18 inches, we don't want it to be 18 inches. We want it to be much bigger than that. But I'm not going to worry too much about it for right now. If we wanted to, we could come down in here to the scale master. And say, for instance, each log, I want to have each log be about 3 to 5 feet long. I'm going to say 5 feet long. So I want to say I want this campfire area to be about, let's say about 9 feet. Okay, so I'm going to say sliders to subtool size. And you can see this is in millimeters. I'm going to put this into, my watch thinks I'm talking to it. Just stop, just stop. Okay, let's turn it to feet. Why not? And we can turn this into 9 feet. Oh, actually, let's make sure that we're getting feet the way that we want it. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Sliders to there we go. So now let's go ahead and hit the ratio button, and we can hit 9, and that should update everything at the same time. We'll say resize subtool. Okay. Cool. So that should be, in theory, 9 feet by 9 feet. Awesome. All right. Hey, Matt. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is very inspiring. Just kidding. Yeah, it's, right now working on trying to set up a new scene. So a lot of what we'll be getting today is going to be um, quite rudimentary. We might get into starting to sculpt some things, but a lot of what we're going to be getting today, let's say append. A lot of what we'll get to be sculpting today. Oh, here, this is I don't like these. Let's come in here. Let's grab our primitives and boom. Oh, that's so big. That is so big. Okay. So if I want each of these to be about 4. So here's something that I'm going to do. Since I know that this is 9 feet across and 9 feet across, I'm going to take my Z modeler. Yes, this is going to be a campfire scene. It's going to be an environment for the game that I'm building. So I feel like we don't really get a whole lot by way of environments, especially like stylized environments in this channel. So I figured, hey, why not? And I don't like red wax. Let's get away from red wax. Sorry, Mortarcaner. So there's that. And I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So this way we have our square and it's all measured out. So now I can use the square. There actually isn't any reference right now. So it's going to be something of like me going through, blocking it out, and then trying to figure out, just sculpting in some logs. I'll probably model in like a little bit of like my stage for the game will probably be about right in here somewhere, where it'll end up being some sort of rock that people, like a nice flat rock that people use to be able to prep food on. I'll probably have some mushrooms. Eventually I'll have like some forest kind of in the background or whatever. Um, but yeah, for right now, the idea is to kind of go ahead and let's turn off spotlight projection. In fact, that's an interesting idea. I say bevel, edge loop complete. Oops. Come on. Just want to try to get a neat grid that I can actually see. Let's go ahead and solo this out so we can see exactly what we're doing. So we have a clean grid and we have a grid with the grid built in. Yeah, go away. Okay. So we're going to isolate this. We're going to invert, polygroup everything together. And we'll say extrude polygroup all. Okay, there we go. Now we can see our grid. That's so much more helpful. I'm going to turn off the regular floor. And then let's go ahead, let's come down and start blocking things in. Okay, so a few things that we need to do. I'm going to model one log. And then that one log, I can use that one log to be able to create the other logs by turning it, rotating it, things like that. And the other thing is that I can probably use it as a base to be able to put things into the campfire. So let's start kind of building this out, and I'm gonna shrink it down. So now it's about a foot in diameter, and I'll have it be somewhere between 4 and 5 feet. Make this one about 5 feet long. That should work. Okay. So now if we want to be able to block in a scene, let's go ahead and actually we need to turn this one off. Keep that the way it is. Let's take this and we can kind of move this off. If we want to use this as our like preparation area, we can kind of go in here and just say maybe move infinite depth, and we can start to, everything might be just way too big. This is going to be a little bit hard to control. So I think I'm going to go ahead and make the whole scene small again. Let's do this. Let's say Z plugin, scale master, sliders to subtool size. Okay, because you can see it's like a little over a foot by a little over a foot by a little, So it's like this is counting like this direction. Yeah, let's go ahead and dock this over to the side. This is our Y direction, so you can see it's not very thick, right? Hey, Carbon, how you doing? Welcome back. Okay, but the overall scene is kind of struggling. Okay, let me see. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to say sliders to subtool size. You see 9 feet. Set scene scale. So you can see that's fine. So now what we want to do is we want to say yeah, that's going to be much easier to work with. Okay. See, now I can move and do things very easily. All right. Now we're in business. Now we're in business. Okay, Z modeler. We're going to add in a couple of edge loops in here. Insert. go ahead and get this like, oops, something like that, something like that. Something like that, so that we've got polygroups on here. And then let's say deformation polish by groups. Oh no. Let's go ahead and say, let's grow this in this sort of way, because I do want it to be kind of thicker on the ends. So it's got like a little bit of a slump in the middle. Okay, not super big, but you know, that's fine. We can go ahead and we can grab this and just shrink it down. Again, kind of using our thing for measuring, you know, give it a little bit more length. Okay. I know this is like the super early stages, so it's going to be a little bit less engaging from most other things that I do while I stream. But it should hopefully also be informative. Hopefully. And let's go ahead and kind of give it a little bit of a wider base, a little bit wider of a base. Pull that end in, pull that end in. Okay. So you notice I'm building everything kind of in a line here. This is the fire pit. This is kind of blocking out the area that fire pit should take up. I want to make sure that it's not taking up too much space, because I want to make sure that that I have room to build around it. I mean, there are going to be lots of little props and things that we're going to want to build into this eventually. So things like those the skewer sticks, the long metal skewer sticks that, you know, the forks that you use to be able to roast at a campfire. We're going to need to build out some stones. We're going to need to build out, I don't know, maybe flint and steel, other items you might find at a campsite, maybe a sweater, I don't know. You find things. There'll be a tent in the background, just to really sell that idea of a campfire. In fact, let's go ahead and let's build a little tent here. Should be fairly easy to do. Let me see. Let's say append. Let's grab this cone. Now this cone, I mean, obviously this is like a lot more of a cone than it is a tent. And there are a lot of polys to that as well. We don't need a whole lot of polys for this, since it's part of a background for a game. So let's go through here. Let's just get rid of everything that's not necessary. So today, for everybody who's joining in new, I'm starting to block in a new environment. It'll be a background. It'll be a stage for the game that I'm building for myself. Really excited about it. It should be a lot of fun. I'm going to say collapse. Let's collapse in some of these edges so that we can, oops, there we go. There we go. So now we have like a much more basic sort of structure here. Now to be able to get my tent side, structure in here, I'm going to use my extender, if it'll let me, and bop, just like that. Okay, so now you can see we've got something that's much more tent-like, and all we need to do now is just kind of collapse these different sides in. Let's commit that. Just kind of collapse that down, collapse that down, collapse, collapse, collapse. Okay, so now we've got our basic tent. Very basic tent. It's a triangle. Yeah, let's go ahead and kind of shrink it down so that it fits a little bit better with everything else. We'll extend it out so that it looks a little bit more tent-like. And we're going to pull it back toward the back. We'll probably have it positioned more like this, okay, so that it's easier to see, so that it's cheated to camera, that sort of thing. But for now, we're just going to leave it kind of off center and about, well, centered so that it's easy to work with. Completely out of topic, but people that got fired from really high positions. I have heard of that, yes. It doesn't happen as often, but yeah. A random question. What do you do when you just feel defeated and tired, fighting battles that'll never be won in life, but you know you have to make some good art, but not art despite the circumstance? I guess what I'm getting to is passion versus sacrifice, self and the other, especially our loved ones. Um, it's just kind of one of those things where, you know, create when you feel like you have the energy to create. It's one of those things because your body needs rest. You need to be able to rest. Um, and if you don't feel like you have the energy to create, I wouldn't really stress it. It's not really like a huge thing. Nobody's going to be keeping watch on you, making sure that you're creating all the time. Um, so it's really just a matter of um, you doing things for you. Um, so anyway, that's one thing. And if you're doing stuff for, let's go ahead and Control Shift X. Actually, let's do it the other way. Let's go ahead and we'll do it this direction. Oh shoot. Um, because I mean, like for me, like I get burned out all the time, but this sort of stuff, like doing personal projects on the side, it's something that's engaging to me. It's something that I feel very um, fulfilled by. It's something that's important to me, and my family is really super supportive about that, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So it's a matter to me of just kind of, I guess, picking my battles. If I feel like I need to rest, I don't feel like I have any obligation to anybody else, I have to be doing something in order to, in order to make everything come together for somebody else. It's like, this is for me. Um, so yeah. Yeah, life is different. It's a matter of just, you know, be in life. Be in life. Existential stuff. It's good stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, I try to make time for what's important. It's all about priorities, right? So, okay, so there's a log. There's a tent. The tent could be a cool piece to kind of work on, just so we have like something that's a little bit more, um, I guess, show worthy. No, but it's all good. Like find what you prioritize, find what's most important to you, and dedicate time to it. For me, I do definitely spend a lot of time with family, taking people places, but I also spend a lot of time, working on me, working on my craft and my stuff. And fortunately, Fortunately, let's say crease all. Um, fortunately, my family is super, super supportive. Um, there's, I feel like not everybody's quite as lucky as I am. And I definitely don't take that for granted. Um, you know what? Let's go ahead and grab this. For some reason, symmetry. Oh, let's see. Symmetry is probably going and doing that's crazy stuff now. Oh, it's not even on center. Let's go ahead and make sure this is centered. X position. Let's put this to 0. Oh, that's not what I wanted. 0. I see. That's better. It's like, why is it so messed up? It's because I'm all messed up. Alright, that's better though. That's better. Turn off that solo mode. Let's bring this tent back in here. And we'll say, yeah, so now we've got the symmetry turned on. We can go ahead and we can say local symmetry. We'll turn off that dynamic mode so that it behaves the way that we expect it to. And I just kind of want to make a couple of little tent poles. Not going to be anything fancy yet. Okay, I just kind of want to, this is going to be something more than anything to block in an intent. Did I change my focal shift? I didn't. Oh, it's just not squared on there. Okay, I see. Let's go ahead and bring that forward. Control and bring that back. Okay, so we've got this sort of thing going on. Let's go ahead and say insert multiple edge loops here. But we don't want to have the creases, so we're going to go ahead and boom, 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 boom. Give it a little bit of a droop there. In fact, what we could do is we could just kind of like take this, taper it out, give it some shape. A lot of what we do with this tent will probably end up being more textural anyway. And we'll probably try to like cheat cheat perspective a little bit, make it look like it's bigger than it is. I don't know. It's one of those things where we got to kind of try to. Doesn't local symmetry work? It does. So one of the things that's really kind of tricky about it is that they've added this new dynamic feature, which does not. I'm not sure. I haven't thought of a good way to use this yet. Um, but you can see how it's like it's going to the center and it's also doing the outside edge. That's really kind of weird to me. So I always just turn off that dynamic and it works like normal. It's kind of it's just kind of odd. But it's one of those things that that's just a workaround, just to make sure that I have the tool working the way that I'm accustomed to it working. So at least they kept that. Let me see. It's gonna need some stakes and it's gonna need some things like that. But we are going to say Your art shows the concentration and time and support you have being an artist. Good artists can't be good if they're alone in whatever sense. I think they can be good, but I think that all artists can be better with the support, community support, with family support, with whatever. Um, Here, let me see. Let's grab this. We're going to say extrude, polygroup all. I'm going to start grabbing it out, but I'm going to hold control after I start. That way I can have this piece here that I can work with, and it's really nice. I'm going to turn off symmetry. I'm going to pull this over here. And then this will probably actually end up being deleted, but I don't know, we'll have to see. Yeah, you're all right. You're all right. But you're correct, you know? So, no need to worry. Let me see, hold on. Display properties, double, just to make sure that I'm seeing everything that I need to see. Okay, so it looks like that really truly is just that. I'm going to grab, say, slice curve. Boom, just like that. Let's say collapse edge. Oops, that was a mistake. Here, let's do this just so we can work on this on its own. Let's say split unmasked, so we can work on this on its own and hopefully not have to worry about. Yeah, it looks like we've got something going on here. Let's check and see what it is we've got, because this is not intended to be as difficult as it's being. Let's go ahead and say delete single poly. Kind of grab this and move it back. It feels like there's something else there, so I'm going to try to, yeah, oh, you can see, there we go. See, that's a little bit better. So you can see now we're getting a little bit better of a result there. We can now manipulate this as we actually want. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of pull this up, something so that it feels like there's a tent flap there. This can technically, I can lose that so that we've got like the inside of the tent. We don't really need that, but we will need like a sleeping bag in there just to make sure that we're seeing what we want to see. Groups. Well, I think that's one of the nice things about being a 3D artist and a digital artist in this era is that, you know, you can get on and you do have support groups online where it's like, you know, other people going and doing the things that you're doing, and you know, a lot of people facing similar struggles to what you may be facing, and interesting. Interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. Just going to get rid of these pieces that I don't need. I'm going to say geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. I think, hey sis, how you doing? But yeah, I think that that's some of the best things that I've ever done for myself in my career is getting online, you know, doing things like this, you know, streaming, live streaming. It's really fun. I mean, it's one of those things where I've been able to connect with people from around the world. I've been able to share my art. I've been able to just have fun. Just have fun, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and let's add some slices. Not a whole lot, but you know, enough to give myself some room to play with. Oh, it looks like it re-welded that together. Oh well. Kids don't want to let you sleep. We're good. So I'm working on blocking in an environment. Should be fun. This is an environment for the cookie, for the food demons. Oh, sis, did you see the? I don't know if you follow me on Instagram or not, but let me show you real quick. I've got some food demons printed. Here's Sushiyama, and it was really fun last night. I have a lot of like sanding and prepping to do so that his pieces fit together, but it's a lot of fun. I'm trying to figure out like where in the world my camera is aimed. Here, let's kind of do something like this. That'll be a little bit better. Okay. So yeah, there's Sushiyama. It's like it keeps trying to focus on my face, and like my face ain't there, bub. All right. But yeah, there's Sushiyama. You can see he's got like all of his fun little sesame seeds here on his shoulders. A lot of fun. And then I've also got pumpkin spice here. Sorry, I don't have her tail in at the moment because you know it falls out really easily. But everything else stays together really nicely. So yeah, super fun. There's a lot of cleanup to do on these, but you know, we get to that eventually. All right. Pull up the chair if you want. They are resin. Yep, they are printed on my Form 2 printer. And yeah, they're a blast. They are an absolute blast. I love 3D printing. It's one of those things that I feel so excited about every time. Pull this up so that we're getting some better alignment with the tent. Alright. That's pretty cool. It's a good start. This is something that probably doesn't need to be any more high resolution than this because this is a background element that's just going to be, in fact, it's probably like too high res. In fact, let me try some stuff here. Let's say insert single edge loop right about there. We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. We'll add in one right here and we'll get rid of these two. And then, yeah, why not? We'll just go ahead, we'll add in one, and then we'll get rid of both of these. And that should help so that it's not so, Let's say collapse edge. It doesn't want to collapse that edge. That's really odd. I wonder what's going on there. Let's see if we can figure out something else then. Let's say stitch to endpoint. So we'll just select that one and then that one. Sometimes you got to go over it a couple of times, change your angles. There we go. There we go. Cool. So yeah, something like that should work out pretty nicely. And since this is a background element, again, we're looking to make sure that you know, that this stays really low. It's going to be something that's just there for making things look right. Like just kind of filling in background elements. The other thing that we're going to want to do, though, here, let's merge that down. Okay, here, let's say geometry. Let's say delete hidden. We don't need those poles anymore. Okay, so now we've got that whole tent in one subtool. I'm just going to go ahead and rename it. Super simple. Super simple. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to want to have a low res and a high res potentially. So this is where I would want to say, you know, maybe we go ahead, we take this. We'll just leave it as a block in for now, I guess. It should be fine. Here, let's go ahead and say save as. Go to assets, environment, sets, and then we'll make one campfire. Campfire sculpt. It's a long name, but it helps keep everything organized. So it should work out nicely. All right. Cool. So I'm going to take this ground plane actually, and we're just going to scale it out. It's kind of interesting how that matches up with the floor grid pretty exactly. This way we have this bit in here to measure, and then we have this bit on the outside to oh, I'll keep the measurements in there. Those are yards, because that's 3 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet, you know. So that's kind of nice. So yards versus feet. It's kind of nice. Okay, let's work on a log here. Okay. So with the log, in fact, with the ground, we're going to want to do some stuff. I definitely will be getting salt and pepper printed and for sale at some point, sis. Absolutely. Yeah, they are. Um, they're favorites of a buddy of mine, my best friend. Huh? Yep, Mikkel. Yep. Yep, he loves salt and pepper. So let's see, we've got this going on, and we're going to say, let's have, I'm going to want to say crease, but I also want to make sure, here, let's turn off the floor grid so that we don't have to see it. And let's turn off the big floor grid. We'll turn, I guess we'll keep that on for, we'll turn it off. We don't need it for now, I guess. Go ahead and polygroup the end of that, so that way we got the caps all grouped. So now we can say geometry, crease, PG. Okay, let's start adding in some, oh here, this is something cool we can do. We can say crease tolerance, we can say down to 2. Yeah, always accept my dynamic subdivisions. Let's put this up to like 3. So you can see this is starting to give us like some rounded edges. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm going to say apply. Okay, and then we're just going to start sculpting on this. I mean, you'll notice that I'm not really particularly worried about much of anything. My main concern. Oh, you know what? In fact, before actually adding in these subdivisions, let's do something. This has 8 points going around. This has, points going around. What I want to do is I want to use this split point. Boom, something like that. Okay, so something I can do. Yeah, let's go ahead and make sure that we're selected that. Make sure that that's not masked. And then we can kind of invert our mask, make sure that this is big enough to support everything that we're trying to do here. Maybe put it more in position. I'm not a huge fan of this right here though. This feels a little bit too stretched. So let's say we'll insert an edge loop there, we'll insert an edge loop there. We'll kind of space these out a little bit more so that it's a little less crazy. Here, let's go ahead and grab this and slide this over some. Whoops. Do something like that, just so it's a little bit more cozied out, right? Oops. Go ahead and make that nice and big so that it fits. Let's kind of bring this over here in some sort of fashion like that. This way we can build this knot into the tree. Makes it a lot easier. Just for the sake of having things be super uniform, have things be controllable much more in that sort of fashion. We don't have to worry about seams. It's just easier. It's just easier. Okay. Oh, and let's get rid of that. We'll say delete hidden. Cool. Okay, I'm going to say bridge 2 holes, polygroup flat, align clicked edges. There we go. So now we've got these things lined up. Let's kind of slide this over so that it lines up better with those things. We'll take this and kind of slide it out some so that it feels a little bit more integrated instead of planted on. Planted on. It's a tree. You know what? I'm going to say Control W. Let's go over here to crease. We'll say uncrease all. We'll say crease PG so that we get that kind of built back in there. Oops. Cool. It's the same thing. I'm going to take this. Let's put our dynamic up to like 3 or 4. Okay, so now this is starting to work in a much nicer sort of way. Let's go ahead and say apply. So now we've got some subdivision levels that we can play with. I'm going to kind of work my way back and forth over them. And a lot of what I want to try to do is I want to try to build in like, you know, some main forms in here. Just trying to smooth things out, trying to get some shape and some interest. You notice like I'm not doing anything super crazy. It's really just kind of a matter of shaking up that shape. Since this is a log, you know, you got to think about like, okay, so this is a log that people have sat on. This is a log that people have, you know, maybe it's been here for a long time, you know. But I also want to think about, I want to think about starting to put in some style. There we go. Okay. So I can start to think about like the way that maybe it gets skinnier at the top than it does at the bottom. Maybe this, instead of being so uniform, like this like womp, maybe it's got like a little bit of like up to it. Okay. And then we can come in, we can kind of like give it a bit more of a cave-in sort of effect here. We'll sculpt this out like pretty nicely eventually, but this is for the sake of did I reorganize my computer space? I did. Yeah, so my personal computer is now, in fact, I might stand up for a second. Oh. Actually just got my new computer. You still see Scarlett? Sort of. Just got my new computer a few short weeks ago, and I went ahead and took my, since I don't have a work computer anymore, I was able to take my, can I get rid of this? No, I can't. Oh, that got messy. That wasn't supposed to be movable. I thought I'd be able to close that little window. I guess not. Oh well. Yeah, so since I don't have a work computer anymore, I figured I'd take the new computer, put it over where my work computer was, where I had the standing desk, so that way I can utilize that resource. And then, yeah, it's been nice. Lights me a little bit better. But yeah, not a whole lot by way of news. But we're still working on it. let's go ahead and kind of play with these edges. Let's play with some of this here. So now we're starting to get something that feels a little bit more log-like. In fact, this could be kind of an interesting opportunity to say maybe it's a little bit opposite. So we get like things jutting out on the top here and maybe on the bottom over here. And the idea is to have this so that it's a little bit, so that's a little bit different. So I can kind of rotate and push and pull things around, like reutilize the same resource, multiple times. In fact, I can come over here and I can kind of sculpt a knot in here just in case, or just so that it feels like there used to be a branch. Maybe the branch got cut off or rotted off or whatever. And then we can kind of reshape some so that it's nice. Eventually, this might get here. Let's see it. Like this is what the lowest subdivision looks like. It's not great. This is probably about what it would be like for when I put it into the game engine. Just trying to keep things nice and light. But yeah. Hey Luigi, how you doing? Okay, so with this, I'm going to try to like kind of push for harder shapes, harder transitions. Okay, I'm not too worried about like sculpting this out, making it super hollow or anything, because I don't feel like that's going to be necessary. Anything that's going on the inside of the log, that'll probably be something that I can handle in just texture and making sure that it feels oh, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to give this a little bit more of a warp. Maybe make this break that silhouette a little bit more. This is stuff that we probably won't ever actually even see, but could be helpful. Could be helpful. Let's see. Just gonna kind of try to modify this silhouette so that it feels like it's fitting a little bit better. What we're doing with the rest of the trunk or rest of the bit here. This doesn't feel like it's quite been sat on enough. So we're just going to add a little bit more variation there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing down here, just kind of add a little knot. Kind of see that sort of stuff go in like that. Now, there are some things that we could add to this. We could go through and add, and we might have to do it in a different subtool for the sake of making sure that we have that we have all of our details kind of separated out. But this is starting to come along pretty nicely. Yeah, let's go ahead and kind of smooth things down where we need them to be smoother or whatnot. And then kind of start building up in places where we want them to be a little bit more built up. Because this can help to really sell the idea of like an old fallen tree. Cool. Let's grab the trim adaptive. I like the trim adaptive. It gives me different effects. So I'm going to try playing around with this, see if I get kind of something I'd like out of it. This could just help me get some different planar effects to the tree in like random sort of ways that we might not expect. I don't like that. Let's see. Might be just a little bit strong. Let's try taking it down. Something kind of like that. Okay, so we're trying to get like some of this effect kind of pulled down in different areas. And just trying to even it out some so that it's to see if it's working, to see if it's doing something that I like. It's always a matter of kind of pushing things through, testing things out. Okay, that's not too bad. Kind of like it. Okay, do something kind of like that. Let's try to play with this edge here. Use trim dynamic to kind of make things work to our favor. It's getting a little bit more of like a definition of the outside of the log to the inside of the log. Okay, kind of smooth that out because that got a little bit messed up. So yeah, we'll probably have like 3 of these around that campfire. Probably won't be something too crazy. Let's see if we can get this working nicely. This feels like it's almost getting a little bit too simple. So I'm just trying to add a little bit of a. Oh, you know what? There's this really cool brush, /2. Let's see if we can find it. It's still in the menu here. So we can come over here to the brush menu inside of the light box here. We can go to the slash, and we go to /2. /2 is amazing. So good. I feel like I'm like speaking backwards now. And it's like, I don't have anywhere that I can put my camera where it's going to be like 100% always like right in the right place, because I move around a lot. Yeah, /2 is amazing though. I learned about this brush from Ashley. If you're familiar with her streams, then you know how awesome some of these things are. It's a little bit too simple. Yeah, let's see. Something like that. Like I like doing this sort of thing with these sorts of openings. That's a little bit too aggressive though. Let's go ahead and bring this down some. There we go. That's pretty cool. Do some more for this bit over here. Alright, check that out. Got kind of like this organic sort of look there. And I want to avoid it feeling too similar in the rings. So let's maybe kind of like smooth this one out or something just a little bit. That might work. We're gonna try to let's try going the opposite direction, give it a little bit more of a, I'll say a hike. Trying to get some sort of variation in detail here, trying to figure out, okay, what's going to work. Let's kind of highlight these ridges again, now that we've got a little extra resolution. And I'm trying to vary up the spacing, so it's like these rings in the center here. It's not going to be evenly spaced going out. It's like this one's a little similar to this one, but that's fine because we got like this big gap here, so that should hopefully make up for all the difference there. Okay, got this sort of stuff going on here. Just trying to get some variation to the edge because this will bake out really nicely in the normal maps. Let's see what we can get kind of coming in over here. It's going to come up this way, something like that. That creates this really interesting kind of detail in there. Hey Andrew, how you doing? Hey Dish Art, Dash Art, DSH Art. Which is it? Is it Dish Art, Dash Art? I'd be interested to know. Davern and Ren have been watching intently this morning. Ren wants to say hi. Hi, Ren. Hi, Davern. Better say hi to Davern, too. Okay. So this is going to get me some really cool kind of wood detail on here. And like I said, like any bark that I wanted to try to add on here, that'll be something that I'll definitely want to try to add as an additional subtool, because it'll allow me to control placement. It'll allow me to control amount. A lot of this beast here we're going to want to have like not covered by bark, right? So it's going to be kind of fun. Let's see. I don't like that. Let's see. Let's see what else we can do with this. So I like what I have built into this side of it. This feels really cool. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to try to build some of this type of detail into the other side. So I'm just going to like save a screenshot there and see what we can add by coming over to this side. Yeah, I guess it's going to have to do something kind of like that. Oops. Let's see, I guess it's coming in from this side. Do something kind of like that to kind of finish it out. That's kind of cool. Sometimes adding like these little bits like this, it kind of just helps to make things feel a little bit more organic. Sometimes you can add like a little extra partial ring going around it. Just makes it feel a little bit more, just a little bit more, you know, just a little bit. Okay. Oops, let's see if we can get this to feel nicely incorporated. Let's use a little bit of like that damn standard brush, kind of pull some of that detail out. Okay. Let's grab that /2 again. There we go. Oh, I think I got eyelashes in my eye. I'm like, oh my goodness. Are you going to make the environment food related as well? No. So the idea behind the food demons is I do actually have a Discord. Let me get a link for you. So the idea behind um, the idea behind food demons. Oh, there isn't a food demons Discord. But it's just the smartest Discord. But yeah, I don't know. It's still fun, right? It's still fun. Um, the idea behind food demons is that the food demons take place in the human world. Um, and uh, so yeah, I mean, it's all just kind of part of, part of our world. um, and that they are kind of the byproduct of human what's it called? Human misgivings or um, misdeeds, mis misexperimentation. Um, so yeah, it's just really kind of a mixture of things. But yeah, it's all supposed to be part of our world, just a stylized one, right? Um, 'Cause I feel like something that yeah, I don't know. It's just a fun series of characters and ideas and I feel like it's completely different from everything else I've seen out there. So it's really fun to be able to push and experiment in these sorts of ways. Let's go ahead and do something kind of like that. Let's grab that slash brush again and we'll just kind of, oops, other direction. Oh, look at that. That got super dirty. Stop messing things up on me. That's one of the hard things. I need to turn on like the back face masking. Here, let's see. Let's go the other direction. Let's come in here. Let's add an extra little swirl, just to kind of make it feel a little bit more complete, a little bit more thought out. Something kind of like that. That feels pretty cool. This feels pretty cool. Just trying to go around and check and make sure that, level of detail feels pretty good. Trying to make sure that it feels pretty consistent. Like maybe I could add in like another little bit of something right there. Little dot there, little dot here, something like that, just to kind of make it feel a bit more, I'll say, uniform. And this is like, remember, I mean, this is supposed to be aimed at being hyper stylized, so it's like it has some aspects of what you would expect to see on a real log. It's like knots or veins or um, termite damage, whatever, however you want to read that stuff. Um, did you make the alpha yourself? No, actually. So everything that I've used so far in this stream, with the exception of this IMM brush, um, I replaced the IMM primitives brush from ZBrush with my own so that I can get some just some cleaner shapes to be able to work with. I really don't like the standard cube that they put in or the spheres, things like that. So I went ahead and I made my own series of shapes, things that I use all the time to be able to model things out, things that are clean topology that I can start on a base model and have something that's ready for production. So yeah, I use this sort of stuff a lot. But yeah, and then the rest of this, it's all just basic brushes that you can find inside of. Oh, so the one-sided cracks, this brush right here, the /2, this was done using, well, I mean, this is just this is a standard brush that comes with ZBrush. You get into it if you were, you probably weren't here when I got into it, but it's inside a light box. You come down into brushes, and then you come over to the slash, and that's the /2 brush right there. So that one, you can make it so that it loads in with ZBrush. So for instance, I have it selected now. I could hit Save As, I go into the ZBrush folder, go into ZData, Brush Presets, give it whatever name you need. So since it's /2, we're going to say /2. And so now that should be in there next time I start up ZBrush. I just hadn't done that yet. So what's nice is that it's unidirectional. So it's going to change how it affects your model based on how you draw things out. It's so helpful. Like I mentioned earlier, I learned that from Ashley Adams. Her channel, her stream has always been super, super helpful to me. It seems like she streamed on Wednesday, which is awesome. She's been having some eye troubles. Poor kid's getting old. Nah, just kidding. No, she's been having some eye troubles, and she's been having her doctors help her out with that lately, and so it's been really hard on her, but fortunately, it seems like she was good enough to be able to hit the stream a little bit on this past Wednesday. So I got to go check it out. And it's funny because like usually we have people streaming like Wednesday and Thursday night and whatnot, and I guess there hasn't been anybody since Wednesday. So interesting. Got a question. When posing a character, how do you keep smaller meshes like straps, belts, even nails from sinking into the main body mesh? So a lot of times you kind of just have to let that stuff happen and then re-sculpt it into place wherever it's supposed to be. So let me see. I don't think I have an example. quick and ready that I could show, but really but really there's going to be some resculpting. It's not going to be like a yeah, it's going to be adjusting it by hand, and it's just going to be part of the process. So I think understanding that it is just part of the process, that's going to be hopefully a little bit of a relief to the burden of actually doing it. Um, yeah, sorry, I don't have anything better that I can tell you. Gets to be kind of a pain. Here, let's say surface, lightbox, noise makers. I want to give this something of kind of like a ground cover sort of look, which means we might end up having to make something. I might use this noise 4 as a base, but I kind of want to see what else I have in case something else kind of sparks an idea. This is kind of cool, 44. Let me see, what else do we have? Because what I'm looking for is something that looks like dirt, that has a cool grunge to it. 31 could be cool. So yeah, 31, 44, and then this other one over here that we had seen. 5 is kind of cool. Let's try 4. If we don't like it, we can change it. Okay, so right now you can see it's definitely not looking quite the way that we want, so we gotta edit it. Here we are. I'm going to take the strength and push it the other direction. Trying to figure out what it is I'm looking at. Am I looking at the top side or the back side? It's like I can't tell. Let's see, let's make this kind of chill out just a little bit more. Because something like this would be a little bit more usable. We want to take the color blend. We could probably like do something a little bit more inverted. Maybe push it a little bit further. Say okay. Yeah, that looks kind of ground-like ish. You know, that's not bad. I love that it's called noise maker, noise for the eyes. Yeah, so it's like it's this visual noise, and it's really kind of a helpful. It's a super helpful thing. So let me see what I could do. I'm gonna grab this. Make it a little bit more yellow. Or maybe even more green. I don't know. Let's see. No. Come back to this side. We'll say, let's make it this nice, rich brown. Not too rich though. That's too rich. Something like that. We'll say mRGB. Let's go ahead and select our skin shade 5. It's the skin shade material that I've made myself. It's super helpful. And essentially it just changes my highlights so that it's not so buggy. Okay, so we've got that. Let me see. With the noise, one of the things that we can do, we have the noise scale that's like super big. So I mean, we can try changing that, see if we like that any better. I feel like I don't. Here, let's say It looks like it doesn't have the option to be able to mix basic noise. Oh well. That's better. Okay. For the tent, let's go ahead and make this kind of a classic green. It needs to be maybe more on like the blue side. There we go. That's the color right there. Color, fill object. For my log, I'm going to want this to be kind of almost like a light beige sort of color for right now. We'll work on filling in and like adding extra detail and things like that at some other point, but you know. From China, I'm also learning role modeling. Can I add an account for communication? I'm not sure your question. You're welcome to message me, I guess. Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, I mean anybody who wants to be able to reach out, you can find me at like all sorts of social media at this link. So yeah, feel free to look and follow and subscribe and all the fun things, right? So far as stuff that I do for Pixelogic, I'm on here every Saturday. This project is going to go on for a while, so I'm not really super worried about it being done today. Yeah, for instance, we have things like this log that we did today, and this will probably be about as finished as it gets today. Funny enough. Let's make a stone. Okay, so one of the things that I want to do to be able to make a stone is just kind of like smooth this out some. This is not a big deal right here. We're going to take our geometry, we're going to turn this into some Dynamesh. We're just going to try to like chop away at this rock. Yeah, pretty much every Saturday. The end of this month, though, I will likely be not streaming because I will not be in the country. So it's one of those things that yeah, I'll be back. It's not bad. I will be back in April. So like I'll be streaming this week and next week, but I will not be streaming the week after that. So yeah, let me see. This is looking pretty good for a rock. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that should work pretty nicely. Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to try using clay polish here. You see what that does? It kind of like strengthens those edges a little bit. I'm trying to decide if I like that. It feels a little bit too. Just kind of polish it out. I think I liked my original rock a little bit better. I think I like this a little bit better. Yeah, say geometry, Dynamesh. We'll go ahead and we'll double this. Wow, that's oh, it took away my 256. That's better. Let's use some trim dynamic and kind of emphasize some of these edges a little bit here. Broadcast live at 12 New York time. It's broadcast live at 8 a.m. LA time. So 11 a.m. New York time. Yeah. Yeah. This morning I was a little bit late, which is fine. I mean, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay, let's see. So yeah, the idea is to get this to be a kind of a neat rock that we can rotate and turn around and have a couple of different, unique shapes to be able to plant in the ground. So since we have this, this looks pretty cool. I am going to try, let's say Control-Shift-D, and we'll just keep that rock for record's sake. Okay, so Control, click, and drag, and we can get a completely new rock. Look at that. We can shrink it down, we can make it bigger, whatever it is we want to do. Okay, bring this over here. We can say, make this one kind of maybe a little bit bigger. And a lot of this is going to depend too on what we want our composition to be. I can go ahead and, just for the sake of being able to block something in, I want to say, let's grab this log. And I don't need this to have really any details on it because this is going to be like a stick in the fire. So let's say delete higher. So this will be like the highest resolution that I need for this particular piece. Let's go ahead and kind of shrink it down some so that it's nice and thin. So it's more of a stick rather than a. Here, let's turn off our other log. In fact, let's give our log a name. We'll say log, just so that we know. Campfire. So we know what it is that we're dealing with. There we go. How about that? And we can come in here, we can kind of make things a little bit thinner up top, or however we feel like we need to make sure that this feels about right. Okay. And in fact, let's say geometry, we'll say delete lower, just so that I can take advantage of being able to rotate things around and let's kind of get like a little pyramid of sticks going on here. Now, something that's interesting, you see like right now I'm going in and trying to use both like a forward and a backward sort of version of the stick. Okay. One of the things that's kind of interesting and something that we may end up doing is we may go ahead and kind of get rid of the sticks all together and just use some sort of cards so that it's really super low poly in the end. But we'll have to wait and see kind of what it is that we do, what it is we decide we need. See, I'm just taking what I have and trying to mush it around. We can take this and kind of manipulate it so that it's its own thing. It's funny. Now lighted, it's going to burn so well. It's going to be so lit. Let's see if we can get this to be something like... Oh, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Just kind of shrink it down in one sort of direction here. It's like even though these are the same stick, like just having them kind of twisted in a different direction makes them different sticks. And maybe it's a matter of also taking one of these and saying, hey, let's duplicate this out. We'll rotate this down if we can get it. Good grief, why doesn't it want to actually align to the surface? Alright, and we'll just kind of chunk it up some so that it's a nice chunky boy log. We'll grab this little bit of the knot and kind of push and pull it around so that it feels like it's a little bit more natural. And then we'll duplicate it out, rotate it around, shrink it, and there we go. We have our little campfire logs. We might at some point go through and animate. Something I want to learn how to do is certain effects like fire. And there's doing a whole environment inside of ZBrush. Yep. So and we're just starting off too. This is something we just started today. So it's let me grab the other log and turn it on so that it's a little more complete. So yeah, I mean this is just kind of part of what we're starting for the next series of projects. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab these rocks since we already have these designed and done. Let's go ahead and grab this. Let's go something like this. Just flip it over. I do want to kind of change the positioning of this big rock. Maybe. But maybe actually all I want to do is take this and just rotate it around a little bit, add in another big rock back here. What I want to do is I want to start thinking about composition. Because, like for instance, this big log right here, this is going to be here. Let's rename this so that it's log 01. Let's grab this. We're going to kind of move this off over into this direction so that this is close to and facing the fire. We'll say Control Shift D so that we have another log. And then we can like rotate it around, something like this. Oops. Here, let's go ahead and rotate it around like this. Okay. So now we've got 2. Oops, I didn't want Control D. Control Shift D. And then we're going to take this and we're going to rotate this so that it's maybe forward like that. So we're getting kind of like these 3 different logs that people can sit on. Although it does kind of concern me that these 2 look the same because we're seeing, let's flip that around so that it's a little bit harder to tell that it's just a repetition of assets. Okay. So composition-wise, we're going to want to make sure that we are kind of thinking about where things are going to be placed. At the moment, yeah, let's go ahead and kind of place that like that or something for the moment. At the moment, we're getting things a little bit too in the ground, and this is all just going to be part of the process, but it's definitely something worth thinking about. Let's go ahead and turn off AccuCurve. We'll grab this knot back here. We'll just kind of pull on it some. You gotta sit back down. It's kind of the nice thing about having a standing desk is that you can stand up and sit down as you as you please. Okay. So let me see this little deal right here. I mean, I do want to make sure that I consider the food demons themselves and kind of like the scale and the stage and how things are going to be set up. So yeah, let's go ahead and turn on some perspective here. I'm trying to think about whether I want to have the stage be on top of a log or if I want to have it be like on top of something like this where it's a rock, you know, sort of thing. And I mean, when I'm saying stage, I'm talking about like, so I'm wanting to make this as like a beat 'em up game sort of thing, like Street Fighter, but with food demons. It's really exciting to me. I'm beyond excited. It's going to be so much fun. Let's go ahead and take this, turn it, move it off to the side some so that it's somewhere over here. Eventually, what we're going to want to have, in fact, let's turn it even further. Okay. go ahead and just see about using this as a way of being able to block in some actual trees. I'm going to take this all the way down to the lowest subdivision level and delete higher, because this is going to be just a way for me to be able to block in an idea for what I want for the environment. At some point, I'm going to want to make sure that, yeah, there's a lot that I've got to think through. Let's go ahead and take this and kind of turn it back, turn this forward, turn this around, maybe move it over here or something. That feels a little bit too, there we go, that'll feel a little bit better. Okay, so for this tree, let's grab these end polygroups. We don't need them. I'm going to say modify topology, delete hidden. And then I'm going to drag this up, turn it around, shrink it in just a little bit. And we're going to bridge these together. Bridge two holes, beautiful. Alright, let's just make sure that we have That's interesting. I have no idea what that is. Let's delete. Oh, no, other way. Other way. Delete hidden. I was like, where are we? Let's say crease. We'll say uncrease all, and then we'll say crease PG. Just, we don't really need to say crease PG. We'll just say uncrease all. All right. So now we've got this thing here. We've got, let's grab this. We'll mask out that top one so we don't accidentally get, something out of it. Kind of pull this out in a direction. Just in a direction. Good to see you, sis. Thanks for coming and saying hi. I'll probably be jumping off soon too. Okay, just kind of bring this over and plant it in. Having the cord from my headphones rub up against my neck, it's kind of irritating me today. I'm like, stop it. We're just gonna kind of rotate things around. We'll shrink things down. We'll give it different angles. Alright. Just kind of grow this up a little bit, I guess. Let's say, not poly paint, polygroups. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place today, and that's okay, I guess. Let's raise that up a little higher. Say control, click and drag, and pull this around some so that it's its own new thing. So that way we have like a little bit of a composition here. grab move topological. We'll just kind of push things around a little bit more. One of the things I want to try to find is a composition that will allow me to feel like I have, let's kind of pull this over here, something that's a little bit too parallel to the other tree. And let's have this kind of angled out or something, I don't know. I want to get a little bit of a composition that will allow me to feel like I can have the moon in the background, the tent in the background, some bushes. Okay, and again, like a lot of what we're doing right now is just blocking. We're just trying to figure out more or less what it is that we want to be able to see. So let's see, for subtool, let's say a pen, we'll just add in a circle because we don't need a disk or what's it called? I'm at a loss. Yeah, let's go ahead and make this thickness something that we can see from the side pretty easily. Let's make this so that we've got a nice little moon up here. Okay. At some point, we're going to want to start to consider cameras and actual camera angles. I know for sure that I'm going to want to, let's see, let's change this down to like 120 focal length, something like that. We might have to cheat this log here so that it's a little bit more, I'll say, interesting compositionally. Okay. Let's go ahead and do something kind of like this. Lots going on with this, right? Lots of things to kind of push and pull and figure out. Okay, with this being the moon, let's actually go through and make sure that's its own color. Yeah, I guess we'll just leave it as skin shade. That should be fine. MRGB color fill object. That way it's kind of nice. Works out. This piece doesn't really technically have to exist anymore, so we can get rid of it. We can just hide it for now. Here's our original rock. Here are our other rocks that we built or copied out for the sake of building our fire pit. All right. Something kind of like that could be cool. This little rock right here, though, I want this to be its own thing. So let's say polygroups, auto groups. And then inside of Dynamesh, since I'm pretty sure, oh, it's not on anymore. Okay, we're good. We're all right. I'm just going to shrink this one down because I want to make sure that it doesn't block the fire. Okay, And then what's nice is I can just take what I have here. Let's kind of push this a little bit more, I think. Maybe something more like that. Oh, this feels a little bit sharp to me. I don't want it to feel too sharp. I don't want it to feel too round either, but I don't want it to feel too sharp. Okay. I'm going to grab that color because that was pretty brilliant actually. So let's say MRGB, color, fill object. And actually we're going to have to do that again here in a minute. I'm going to say decimation master. Right now we're at 19,000 points. So I'm going to take this down to like 5. Let's say custom. Probably take it even lower than that. Look at that. So let's take it down to 1. Yeah, easily. That's probably still like too much for what I'm wanting, but it should be just fine. I should be fine. Let me see. I mean, I could technically go through and do like some sort of percentage and decimate it further so that it's even lighter. But yeah, we'll have to, we'll call that good for now. Okay, let's go ahead and fill that color again just so that it's nice and even. I'm going to grab, oh yeah, auto groups. Auto groups. Kind of shrink that down. Make it so that we have this other rock in here. Just so we have an odd number. I doubt it's something that we'll ever actually see, but it's something that I know's there, and and that's what matters. In fact, here let's grab this little guy here. I don't mind having an even number so long as it doesn't feel like it's an even number. And the idea anyway, you know, irrespective of the number of pieces that you add in, you're just wanting to create a composition. You're wanting to create a balance. And can't very well be creating a balance if we're not willing to push and pull and explore. So yeah, just a helpful tip. Yeah, my wise sage tip for the day. Can't create balance if you're not willing to explore. Say auto groups. Let me see. Yep, you know what? I think I do want the stage to be a log. It's one of those things because like the camera is going to be a set fixed angle. It's not going to change. So it's just a matter of having these, you know, having the composition worked out so that it, you know, so that you see what you want to see, which means that a lot of this stuff is probably actually going to need to be pushed back. And a lot of this I won't know for sure until in fact, let's kind of pull this back some too. I won't know for sure until I take it into game engine and start setting up real cameras and things like that. But that's also going to be when I get the opportunity to have these things as final assets that I can take in and position and create the composition and things like that. So right now, here's what we're going to do. I see an opportunity here. Control Shift D. I think this probably like ruined my, oh, nope, it didn't. Cool. Here, we'll say rename this to 04. And I'm going to rename this to trees. Okay, this one, I'm going to make it larger. I'm also going to make it flatter, but I want to make sure that I'm figured out which side I want to be able to see. And then I want to turn this into the stage. Let's go ahead and make sure this is nice and flat. And then we'll just kind of, I'm just going to scale it a little bit in this direction just to make sure that I'm getting the stage to be pretty nice and even. I'm going to need it to be probably perfectly even at some point, but we're going to make pretend with what we've got for right now. And then this thing is going to end up being a lot bigger than the other pieces. I'm going, like, just compositionally, I feel like cheating it is going to be well worth my time. So let's do something kind of like this. If we pull our camera into this sort of area where we're seeing everything, we're going to be at a stage where we can see the composition, where everything's just kind of working. The moon needs to be lower. Oh, I don't have a... Here, let's go ahead and set a timeline. We'll say show. Let's hit save, just because that's useful. Okay, so looking down at my scene here, I'm going to say bookmark that. Let's go ahead and shrink some things down. We want to cheat the composition some, because what's happening is that we currently have like all these pieces, all these elements that we're trying to bring in here, and it's not going to work out super well if we have everything too cramped. So by cheating the scale, by cheating the composition, we're going to be able to fit more in. We're going to be able to tell the story we're wanting to tell. So yeah, there's our stage, and then there's our campfire. I'm trying to think, I might have like a really simple campfire going, just like a low burning campfire burning down in here with like some embers flying up. So one of the things that I want to learn how to do is I'll learn in Houdini how to make fire and effects for the game engine that I can export over into Unreal. And then I'll export also like flying embers, which I'll probably use as like sprites with like a half-life that kind of like as they drift off. So we'll have to kind of see how this stuff works out, but so far we're going somewhere. Let's get a little bit more depth to these trees. Let's say, oh, in fact, here let's add a little extra bit here, and just for the sake of making sure that we have enough to kind of fill in a gap and to give us the impression of having depth and volume. Save so we don't lose it. Okay, so this is what we have going in so far. I'm probably going to try taking everything over into either Maya or Unreal just to be able to get some cameras set up, be able to figure out composition things, and then I'll take some screenshots and do some draw overs. But I'll be doing those in my own time sometime this week. So this is the start of this environment. Lots left to do, right? We still have a ton of just everything. The trees, the different environment elements from the background, those will probably end up being um, cards, like layered cards. So like I'll have, yeah, because then I can have like these big cards with with the tree details and things like that in depth, and it makes it so that I can create a lot of really cool kind of environmental elements in the back. Since we're not ever going to go back there, we're not ever going to interact with that. It'll just make it a lot easier, a lot cheaper to render, that sort of thing. Um, the I'll probably need to add in some sort of like tree or mountain or hill silhouette here in the background just to make it pretty. I need to add bushes so that it feels a little bit more complete. Um, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, lots left to do. It should be fun. It should be a good time. It's just a matter of going and getting past the. In fact, here since we're on these trees, let's go ahead and say color fill object. So that way, this is just a little bit darker. It helps to set those things back a little bit. Helps us to focus a little bit more the uh, on the foreground elements. Let's bring this down. We'll say color fill object. Color fill object. Color fill object. Eventually, these will have things painted onto them. So like it'll have lighting information painted onto it. I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. Um, but yeah, I mean, this should be a pretty fun one to go through eventually when it's finished and lit. Um, it'll be pretty cool. It should be pretty cool. So yeah, this is kind of where we're at so far. Let's see if we can. Let's say go through color fill object. That way they just have a little bit of a variation there. Right here, what we can do is we can select that color. We'll grab our painterly brush, and we'll just kind of add a little bit of like variation there, just so that it's nice and pretty. Little unicorn rocks. Right here, we can go ahead and grab this and say, just add some subtle color variation. Subtle color variation. Subtle color variation. In fact, with that one, we could probably select from here and select, add a little bit more there, just so we can get this a little bit darker. Not a huge deal. A little bit of color variation here. And hey, why not? Since we're here, we can go ahead and say color variation. Yay! That's a little bit heavy-handed, but we'll settle it down a little bit. With the tent, we could also do a little bit, but it's none of this is really going to matter too much right now. I really like the color of that tent, so I don't really want to change it at all. But yeah, that's where we're at so far. It's gonna be cool, guys. It's gonna be cool. Um, oh, this will be a good thing to do. Let's kind of stretch this out just a little bit, just so that it's breaking that silhouette a little bit better. Um, yeah, it's all about finding the composition. It's all about making sure that things feel like they fit. Cool. Saved. I want to call it good for today. It's 11 o'clock. It's a good time to say au revoir. Thanks for coming and hanging out. It's always good to have good people around. Um, the hope for next week is to refine this some, and then also to add yeah, I guess like add some nuance. So like, working on how these pieces kind of fit together, making sure that it feels like like it's more designed, like it's more controlled. Um, kind of pull this down a little bit more. Yeah, just kind of a matter of working through things, getting different ideas to work out. Um, yeah, always different things to work with, different things to play with. Ah, that got a little weird. But yeah, we'll have to go through and kind of work with some of these ideas here and see kind of what it is that we like and don't like, what it is that is working and not working. Because I feel like there are some things in here compositionally that could be improved, just shape-wise. Because otherwise it feels a little bit too, I'll say dry. Dry feels like the right word for it. Um, so this is the sort of thing that we'll start doing a little bit more of next week, is really just checking for compositional things, reworking some ideas. Um, the nice thing is that we have some sculptural elements of these logs that we don't have to worry um, about working in. It's just already kind of worked out, and now it's just a matter of getting the compositional details to work. So that'll be kind of the idea of what it is that we want to try to work with next time. We'll add in more background elements like our bushes over here. We'll add in our mountains just to be able to figure it out. So yeah, that's where we're at. Again, thanks for coming. Should be fun. This is one of the scenes for the food demons. Yeah, this will be a battle scene. So this is the stage for the fighting, and then it's just kind of background elements. I think I have to work out some well, I definitely have to work out some compositional things, so that so that it works. Um, but yeah, I mean it's coming along. It's super exciting to me. It is super exciting. Um, yeah, should be cool. So like if you're interested in kind of following along and seeing more, then feel free to jump on and you can find all my links at that bio site that I just pasted into the chat. Um, I do need to add food demons to this list, um, but I'll add that on as soon as I'm done with the stream, so that way it's there and it's available in case you wanted to go and find food demons and follow that. And yeah, that's what we've got for today. Should be fun. Yay! Thanks for coming and hanging out, and I'll see you next time I see you. Smartest out.